took a pretty big dump on your man Kobe Bryant. I wouldn't say a pretty big dump. Well, we tried to put him in proper perspective. Marcellus Wiley made the accurate point that, like, hey, man, in 2015, no one was talking about Kobe Bryant as the GOAT. No one was even talking about him as the top 5 player all time. Somehow he dies, and the next thing you know, he's in the top 5 when he wasn't even in the top 10, according to ESPN, Fox Sports, Bleacher Report, Sports Illustrated. Jay, I just wanted to give you an opportunity to defend Kobe Bryant. Why are they remaking history as it relates to Kobe Bryant in your mind?
Well, Jason, I typically start these segments by saying it's a pleasure to be here, but I'm duty bound to be here. It's an obligation that I'm here. I have to pick up arms and lead the charge in defense of my man, Kobe Bryant. Point in fact, I'm not even at home. I'm on vacation here, Jason. I'm in a lake house in Georgia, and I'm still on here the day after the absolute slander was wafting around that studio of yours in Nashville yesterday. Look, Jason, I think we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves here in general when we discuss the GOAT debate. So I want to set the parameters of the conversation, the discussion, first and foremost, with the pure fact that there is no such thing as a debate here, Jason. There is just one name. It's Michael Jeffrey Jordan. That's it. That's the list. That's the number of people who are in contention or vying for that moniker, the greatest player of all time. However, when we get to the number 2 slot on that list, when you look at every other player that has come after Michael Jordan, there is anywhere between, in my estimation, 6 to 8 players vying for that to be the first name mentioned after Michael Jordan. And in my opinion, Jason, as a sports historian, as someone who has studied intricately the history, the vast history of the NBA, Kobe Bryant has as good of a case to be the next name listed after Michael Jordan than any player that has ever existed. And the fact that you're saying, look, you were there all along with the dislike of Kobe. So I'm not saying that you're being inconsistent. But the fact that you're suggesting that there wasn't a large sect of people predating his death that were saying that Kobe Bryant was in, the Mount Rushmore discussion is a little bit disingenuous. Go ask your man Michael Wilbon where he has Kobe Bryant. Ask Mark Jackson where he has Kobe. Mark Jackson was on air in NBA Finals series that he was broadcasting in like 2010, saying that Kobe Bryant is the closest. He's right there with Michael Jordan, arguably better than Michael Jordan. That's the wording of Mark Jackson back in like 2009 and 2010. A large percentage of players within the NBA that were played in his requisite kind of comp era, the guys that bridged the Michael Jordan era, got into the Kobe era, will have you know that it's Kobe right beneath Jordan. Anyone that played against these guys. So to say that it never happened or nobody ever thought that Kobe Bryant was in these kind of discussions prior to his death, Jason, this is just pure revisionary history right now.
Scap, how do you get around the list we showed from ESPN, from Sports Illustrated to Bleacher Report to, I can't remember who the fourth one was. How do you get around those? How do you get around those lists? 2015, no Kobe in the top 10. Now he's in virtually everybody's top 5.
Let's do this, Jason. I'm not going to live, breathe, and die on a hill of arbitrary lists set forth by some unknown amount of journalists. Let's just take a look. Jason, if you will, please allow me, give me a little bit of leash here. Look, people talk about the Kobe before, the after the injury, before he started. If you look at when he became a starter in 1998, so in his age 20 season, and running to when he ruptured his Achilles in the 2012 season, so his 17th year in the NBA, that would be his age 34 season. From the age of 20 to 34, in his healthy prime, which 14 years is a pretty large prime, Jason. In that 14-year snapshot, he played more games than Larry Bird for his career, more games than Will Chamberlain or Magic Johnson in their careers. The same amount of games as Michael Jordan. So that 14-year sample size is no small sample, Jason. In that span of time, he led the NBA in scoring, both in points per game and in total points scored. He is one of only 3 players in league history to lead an entire decade in scoring while leading in average, the points and the average, I should say. He's undeniably one of the 3 greatest offensive forces in NBA history. He still is top 3 all-time in 40, 50, 60-point games. If you just look at him from an individual standpoint, his individual offensive excellence is top 3 in the history of the NBA. He also, Jason, he has the most first-team defensive selections in league history. 9, tied with Michael Jordan, Gary Payton, and Kevin Garnett. So when you look at Kobe Bryant, the totality of him as an individual, he is one of the 2 to 4 greatest full-court, most complete, dominating full-court players that have ever existed. Okay, and then in that 14-year span, realize that he went to 7 NBA championship series and won 5 of them. So he has a very high level of team success. So really, I'm looking at him as a complete and total snapshot as a player. There is simply no way you can get around his total resume. You cannot find me a better list of 4 to 5 players, I would argue 3, that surpass Kobe Bryant from an individual standpoint while winning the way he did. Oh, and can I also just sprinkle in real quickly here? He played the hardest competition of any player in NBA history. He faced more 50-plus win opponents in his playoff career than anybody ever. He beat more 50-plus win playoff opponents in his career than anybody ever. So when you factor the totality of it in, Jason, I'm the one that's struggling here. Please help me. Help me understand how there are 10 to 12 to 14 players that existed that are better than this guy.
Tim Duncan has 5 NBA titles and 2 MVPs.
Duncan's in my Mount Rushmore.
Walk me how Kobe surpasses Tim Duncan.
First of all, I have Kobe, Duncan, Kareem, and Jordan are my Mount Rushmore. So Duncan is in my Mount Rushmore. It is, look, it's pick your poison between Tim Duncan and Kobe Bryant. In my estimation, Kobe Bryant was a substantially more dominant offensive player than Tim Duncan. Tim Duncan was a better defensive player than Kobe Bryant, but let's not act like Kobe Bryant was a slouch defensively. As I said, 9 first-team defensive selections, tied for most ever, 12 selections overall. Jason, he finished top 10 in Defensive Player of the Year like 7 or 8 times. The differential between
Magic Johnson's got 5 MVPs, 5 titles, and
the differential between Tim Duncan and Kobe Bryant is more vast offensively in Kobe's favor than it is defensively in Tim Duncan's favor. They both won the same number of championships, Jason. Kobe beat him more times head-to-head in the playoffs. Tim Duncan had a much better
Magic won 5 titles and 3 MVPs. Magic won 5 titles and 3 MVPs. Get me over that hurdle.
Jason, we've gone through the MVP discussion, but I'll just summarize. I've gone through it with you, but let me go through it one more time. Kobe Bryant has the 3rd most top 5 league year-end MVP finishes in NBA history. Behind only LeBron has, I believe, 14. Kareem has 15. Kobe Bryant had 11. Jordan only had 10. Wilt only had 10. Russell only had 10. Everybody on that list, Jason, there are 6 guys that have finished in double digits with year-end MVP vote. Every person on that list, 5 of the 6 won a minimum of 4 league MVPs. Kobe Bryant won only 1 because of the vast and imperceptible hatred by the people at the time who were voting on the award.